Hello and welcome back to the channel Up the Reds TV with me, Andy. Excuse me. So if you like this video, please like it, please share it, and please subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that. So this one is the pre-match warm-up. Spurs or Tottenham, or whatever you want to call them, versus Liverpool tomorrow. Kicks off at 5:30, so got plenty of time to do your last minute bits of Christmas shopping before you come back, relax with a beer or two, and watch the game. Okay, let's have a look at our opponent, shall we? So last four Premier League games: won 1, drawn 1, lost 2. Lost at home to Fulham 2-1, won at home to Brighton 2-0, drew away to Newcastle 2-2, and they had a heavy 3-0 loss last week away at Nottingham Forest. So they've won only 3 in the last 11 outings. So yeah, they're in a bit of a I don't know what you want to call it, a downward spiral. They're not playing really well. Thomas Frank is under a bit of pressure from the supporters. I don't think he'll lose his job as yet, but he's under more pressure than Arne Slot is. Look, he plays a 4-2-3-1 system, and he'll stick by that, and he will play from the back and to try and get the team as quick as he can up the pitch, because he won't be playing long balls because he's no one to aim at. I mean, Richarlison's up there, but he's useless, isn't he, if we're honest with ourselves. Look, he does have an extensive injury list. Let's have a look at see who's out. Kulusevski, Maddison, Dragusin, Taki, Bissouma, Solanke, and Udogi. So they're all out, and they won't be featuring. He's got another couple of players. Let's have a look who are going to the AFCON. Sar's gone to the AFCON, and so is the injured Bissouma. So obviously he might recover for playing in that tournament. Look, as I said, Thomas Frank is under a bit of pressure from the Spurs supporters. I mean, yes, he's left Brentford, hasn't he? And in London, Tottenham are bigger than Brentford. So is it a upgrade from Brentford to there? Probably is in his eyes, but for the rest of the football world, no, not really. I mean, he has replaced Ange Postecoglou, and he didn't last long there, did he? So, but yeah, right. They are struggling at home. They are struggling to score goals and create chances, but we probably playing them at the right time, I think. We played them 4 times last season. We scored 15, conceded 5, so it could be another high-scoring game. We always seem to do well down there. Let's have a look at Arne Slot's press conference, shall we? First question, obviously, was asked about Mo Salah. He said actions speak louder than words. He has gone to the AFCON, and that's what he should be concentrating on, and we have moved on. Interesting analogy that from him. I have my thoughts about that, and I'll mention that because there is a bit of an extra one at the end of this video about transfers. And yeah, so it was he's come out now. He said, you know, we've moved on, everybody's fine. He was asked the question about, you know, the turnaround of the last few games, and he said he's on the players. He said, I'm now seeing players are progressing in their fitness and are now competing for 90 minutes of a very intensity Premier League. He was not only mentioning the new players, he was also mentioning the players from last season who have been in the team, in and out, and started pre-season late and whatever. He's now quite happy to see that he's getting the benefits of those players from the system that he plays. So Gakpo's out. He's not going to be out as long as they initially thought. He's had a scan and it's proved to be a positive one. Joey Gomez is out. He's not available this weekend. That's what he said. But we do have Connor Bradley back in and Jeremy Frimpong. And also the big news is the best player so far this season, Dominic Szoboszlai. He said he trained yesterday and he will train again today, and we will see if he gets a reaction. If not, he'll be in contention. We all want Dom Szoboszlai to be in the team this weekend, don't we? So I had my fingers crossed this week that it wasn't going to be too serious for him. But yeah, hopefully he's had a good session today and he makes it into the team. He was asked about Curtis Jones and his last 3 performances, and he said, look, this gives him a platform to carry on, to have 5, 6, 7 times an upward trajectory in his performances. And he said that when he first came here, he did have a couple of good games, and then he'd have a not so good game. But this season he's much improved, and he's doing a lot of interviews as well, isn't he? He did say we were crap the other day, and it was down to us as the players to get this sorted out, and we will get it sorted out. Honest opinion, Scouse opinion. He's a supporter as well, isn't he? He's only reiterating what we were thinking and saying in the stands. So positive. Another positive is he was asked, has it been good that you've had a full week's training without any midweek games? And he said yes. He said, if I can use Alexander Isak as an example, we can show him, where we want him to be, what we want him to do in the formation on the training ground, which but that was just an example that he was alluding to. My team, I've got 2 versions. I'm going to give you them both, and you tell me what you think. Ali in goals. Connor Bradley comes back in at right back. I'm going for Kirkes at left back because we're now beginning to see the best of him, and this Tottenham game will probably see an even better version of him as well. Obviously Konate and Virgil, centre halves. Gone for Gravenberch, Jones, Szoboszlai and McAllister, and Etitike and Isak. And I know you're all screaming and shouting, where's Wirtz? Just give me a moment, take a deep breath, and this is my second team, which I think will be the one that he starts with. So the first one was 4-2-3-1 with possibly Ekitike playing, just off Isak, but Ekitike's the inform one. So this one's a bit more 4-2-4 with the diamond. Got Ali in goals, Konate, Virgil, Connor Bradley, Kirkes. Then we've got Gravenberch, we've got Szoboszlai, Jones, we've got McAllister, and we've got Ekitike up front, with Wirtz playing at the top of that bit of a diamond. So yeah, those are my two teams. You might have a different take on that. I think the important thing is that the midfield is now starting to play well. That's all four midfielders, and Onslaught has it's a good problem to have, is to fit all four on the pitch. And you can see in the last two games, certainly, the work rate's been excellent, and the closing down, winning of the balls. They've all got their own individual character on the pitch. Don't play similar. They play different styles to each other, but they complement each other, and that's the word I was looking for. So yeah, and then Florian Wirtz has really come to the forefront, and as mentioned by Onslaught, didn't he, in his press conference, he's happy with the fitness of the players now, and they've come up to the level of what's expected of them in the Premier League. So yeah, it'll probably be the second team that I've read out that will be the one. Okay, so my next segment is it's called the transfer window opportunity in January. We should be signing one or maybe two players in January. We've got to, because although we're all right for December, we've only got 6 games, have we? But as soon as that is over, we're back to playing, 3 games a week type of thing. And it's a bit nervy, is the squad at the moment, with the injuries that the players are out with, and I know we've got Bradley's back from suspension, and Jeremy Frimpong's back, and he'll be on the bench. But yeah, there are other injuries that could come to bite us, and obviously with Mo Salah going to the AFCON. So just on Mo Salah then, as I said, he's at the AFCON, and I thought this circus that started 2 weeks ago would disappear for 6 weeks, or also I thought, but it's still lingering in the background for me. I know Onslaught said today in the press conference, look, it's done now, we move on, and everybody's relaxed about it. But I've just got this feeling, that Salah's probably gone to AFCON not wanting or not hearing what he wanted to hear in the meeting with Onslaught and maybe Richard Hughes. So every pre or post-match interview he does at the AFCON will be scrutinised with a fine toothpick, I think, by the journos. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't personally feel anything was resolved between him and the club when he left. So yeah, I mean, Paul Joyce is reporting that Liverpool will hold talks with his representative, Rami Bass, to make sure everybody is on the same page. I'm not so sure what on the same page will look like. They might be on the same page, but the opinions will probably be different. And really, you can't blame Onslaught for not picking him in the last few games, starting him for sure. The team's unbeaten in the last 5 games, and as Onslaught said, we move on. For me, moving away from having Mo Salah as a guaranteed starter, and although this is going to upset him and maybe his representatives, he has to see that this at the moment is the best solution that Onslaught has come up with after the recent results, bad results that we've had. So I'm all for it. He's been a great servant. He's a legend. I have no problems. At the end of the day, being an ex-gaffer myself, you pick the best team that's available for you, and that's how it should be. If the club want to sell him, or Mo wants to go in this window or in the summer one, I'm fine with that, as long as we have a replacement bought in, and that's the important thing about that. There are names being bandied about. There's talk about Antoine Semenyo, about his release clause of 65 million, and that can only get activated in the first 2 weeks of the January window. Failing that, clubs will have to wait for his signature, and it will go down to 50 million. Now, Manchester United are all over this. They want him desperately. Man City want him desperately as well. But you know what? I hope that, because we have a good connection with Bournemouth, that we have done all the groundwork, all the doggy work that needs doing in the background, and that he does choose to come to us, because he can operate on both flanks for me. Would I go and get him in January? Yes, I would. Look, Bournemouth are not going to get relegated. They're fine, okay? They're not going to make Europe either, but they are also actively looking for his replacement in the January window, expecting that he's going to go this January. If not, it'll be for a lesser fee, but I think Bournemouth have good business people running that club, and they are not going to sniff at missing out on £15 million is the difference between him going in January or at the end of the season. I mean, there's other clubs that are looking for him, Arsenal, but they would have to sell before they could buy him. So he's got a plethora of clubs interested in him, but I'm hoping that he makes his decision, that he'll come to us, because he would be the perfect replacement for me. He's already got the Premier League experience. He's at a good age. He's, like I say, he can play left or right, and if he plays on the left-hand side, he's got his old buddy, Milos Kerkez behind him, hasn't he? So, yeah, I've got my fingers crossed for him. Like I say, there's a lot of groundwork being done, and hopefully he signs for the Reds. There's been conversation about Mark Guéhi. It still won't go away either. I hope that the club goes and gets him in January, because we do need him. Crystal Palace aren't playing as well as they were last season. So, again, they've got extra games to play, etc. And maybe the conversation about Palace pulling him out at the last minute at the end of the last window and keeping him, which was a blow to us, really. It was a blow, and that showed when we went through that bad patch. I hope they go for him in January and advise him, look, you're going to get plenty of game time between now and the end of the season, and he'll want to play for England in the World Cup, and we must give him those guarantees that he'll get loads of game time. So, again, there's more interest from abroad. Real Madrid is sniffing, Bayern Munich is sniffing, so there's other clubs that are sniffing, and I'm hoping he's not driven by money because of his beliefs. He doesn't go out or anything. He said he's a homeboy. He's got friends in Manchester. He's got friends in Liverpool, which was interesting to know. Another centre-back that, quote unquote, that the Reds are monitoring is Rennes defender Jeremy Jacquet. Now, he's 21 in next July, so he could fill the home quota for Liverpool. So we wouldn't have to pay a fee for him. because his contract finishes in 6 months. So I've been reading about. So yeah, would he be a good addition? Now, he can play left back, right back, or in the centre. He has played one game in midfield as well for Rennes this season. So he's a typical Liverpool player who's versatile. So there's one name to look out, and he's a French international as well. So talking about French internationals, Canate, yet to renew his contract. I've no idea how this one will pan out. Obviously, he's got a bit of form back after a few games where, as Onslaught would say, he's always at the scene of the crime, you know. So yeah. If he signs. That's great. But we still need another centre half, don't we? Joey's injured. Leone's injured, and we're down to the bare two. I know Ryan can play in there, Ryan Gravenberch. I know Endo could play there, but really, do we really want to do that? No, we don't. One thing that the club are trying to do at the moment is get Dom Slobosly, Curtis Jones to sign new and improved contracts. Curtis has only got 18 months left from January. I'm hoping that these are resolved before the season finishes. Obviously, with the way both of them are playing, we don't want Dom leaving Liverpool, you know, because he's, like I say, he's been the best player already. And Curtis is probably the second best player this season. I know he's only had a handful of games, but he's been very good. You know, and I'd like those two contracts signed up. You know, not have a crown and a chair in the middle of the pitch with all the, you know, with part of the floodlights on and Salah-esque. I just want him to just sit down in front of the cameras and just get it signed, and we can all, as Onslaught would say, move on. Just talking about in January, the Reds, you know, we didn't do so bad, did we, signing players in January? Virgil van Dijk, Luis Suarez, Luis Diaz, Daniel Sturridge, Philip Coutinho, Andy Carroll. That's all I'm going to say about that one. So, yeah. Look, I'm a believer, look, strike while the iron's hot. You know, I've said that we should get 1 or 2 in, and we should be looking at getting 1 or 2 in. It's imperative that we do, because we're only 2 points off 4th place. Top 4 is what we're aiming for. Once we get into the top 4, we can kick on then and see what happens. Okay, that's enough from me. Thanks for watching. Okay, I will do a post-match after the game. It'll probably come out after 9 o'clock tomorrow. Okay, please like, please share, and please subscribe to the channel. I would be most grateful. And you give me your thoughts on the team selection and on this video. Okay, enjoy your Friday evening. I'll speak to you tomorrow. Enjoy. Up the Reds.